Look, we were speaking about the Democrats before. It's wild how desperate they are getting at the moment. Bernie Sanders has taken it upon himself to rant about Donald Trump. Well, that's not new, but in front of a bunch of party goers at Coachella. This is, of course, part of the Democrats' 2028 playbook, is to just put some crazy TDS into some people who are likely out of their mind partying at Coachella. But this is Bernie Sanders.
We need you to stand up to fight for justice, to fight for economic justice, social justice, and racial justice. Now, we got a president of the United States who, I agree, he thinks that climate change is a hoax. He is dangerously wrong.
I mean, is this what's going to turn it around for the Democrats, speaking to partygoers at Coachella?
Well, look, he's the 83-year-old leader of the youth movement. Can't you tell? He's only that was Larry David, by the way. No, it wasn't. I mean, he's only slightly more spry than Joe Biden was. I mean, the synapses are firing a little bit better, but even poor Bernie versus when he was running against Hillary, you know, what was that, 50 years ago now, when he was only 112, you know, he has lost a little bit of speed off of that brain power. You can sort of tell he's up there with his cue cards, and he's talking to a group of people that, you know, he couldn't get to vote for him in a primary twice, and they certainly didn't show up for Kamala Harris. So I don't know who's in that audience. Most people there probably just wanted to hear some great music, and instead they got an old Marxist ranting at them.
Yeah, I don't think they forked out all that money and turned up at Coachella hoping to hear Bernie Sanders. But unfortunately for them, that's what they got. You mentioned Stephen A. Smith before. He says that he's considering a run for president in 2028. Speaking on the ABC's This Week, he criticised the Democrats for focusing on woke culture and cancel culture during the 2024 campaign.
So are you really thinking about running for president? Is this something you think?
Listen, I have no choice, because I've had elected officials, and I'm not going to give their names, elected officials coming up to me. I've had folks who are pundits come up to me. I've had folks that got a lot of money, billionaires and others, that have talked to me about exploratory committees and things of that nature. I'm not a politician. I've never had a desire to be a politician. I just signed a contract extension with ESPN. I am very, very
pretty good one.
I would hope somebody else would step up that's more qualified than me. But if it has to come down to me, it is something I would consider. Yes, I would, because I don't mind the thought of tussling with these folks at all, on the left or the right. All of them disgust me, to be quite honest with you.
AJ, what are your thoughts on this one? He's certainly right about the Democratic Party just not having a leader or a vision at the moment.
Well, you know, unlike other parts of the Commonwealth, the former Commonwealth states, in the United States, we really only have two parties. And isn't it amazing? It's just an amazing thing that the Democrat Party, the party of Thomas Jefferson and Andrew Jackson, the party of Franklin Roosevelt and John F. Kennedy, has fallen into such ill repute that one of their most sane, popular voices that could possibly run for president, and God love, I mean, look, I write about Stephen A. Smith in this book. He is a voice of sanity, not just on sports, but on life. So if you got guys like him and Bill Maher and Senator Fetterman, who needs like a speaking spell in order to do a debate with Dr. Oz, God bless them, that this is the best they have, they're in deep trouble.
Absolutely.
They're in deep trouble.
They certainly are. Look, I want to get your thoughts on DOGE. We just keep learning more and more about the waste and abuse and fraud. And last week, DOGE revealed or claimed that millions of dollars in unemployment claims have gone to fake people who aren't even born yet. They brought out the receipts, as they always do, and there was one case where a person whose birthday was listed in the year 2154 received $40,000. I mean, we keep learning about these insane DOGE findings, and it's still so shocking.
Sure. I mean, here's the thing, and a lot of sort of conservative analysts here in the United States don't say what I'm about to say, is that, first of all, this is a grift. Yes, this is a money laundering operation that the left was using through big government to funnel to their nonprofits to then donate back to politicians. But the Democrat Party wasn't the only party in power for the last 40 years, and certainly not the only party in power on Capitol Hill. Plenty of Republicans elected for decades have been sitting up there on Capitol Hill collecting their belly button lint while this gigantic money laundering operation was going on, and they really didn't care. There's been a few people over the years, like names that you wouldn't know, like Tom Coburn and obviously Ron Paul and others. But the fact that they've all sort of looked the other way tells me that they're all complicit in this.
Look, finally, I want to ask you about Easter that is approaching. The White House is gearing up for an extraordinary celebration for Holy Week ahead of Easter, and Donald Trump will be participating in several events to celebrate and honour the holiday with the observance that it deserves. But remember that this comes after the Biden White House declared Easter last year Transgender Day of Visibility. I mean, it's so important that we are reminded about what our life was like 1 year ago and how different it is now that we have Trump back in the White House.
Yes, that's right. It was they wouldn't celebrate cisgender Jesus in the Biden White House. Now, here's the thing. Trump has gotten more religious since the assassination attempts. When he was running in 2015, people would ask me, can we, and they said this about Reagan too, because Reagan was married twice and Trump's been married 3 times. That he's not, that he has a certain style. He's from Queens. Why do evangelicals and other Catholics and Orthodox Jewish voters like him? And the reality is this: he is the bodyguard, at least at this point, Netanyahu might be as well, of Western civilization. So Greco-Roman, Judeo-Christian civilization, which includes Australia. And look, not all civilizations are created equal. I know that's not always politically correct, but, Western civilization is something that we should hold on to. So that's, I think, and look, Melania's Catholic. I think that they have, understood their mortality since the assassination attempts. And I think that's why you're getting a sea change here. Because Trump, whether he's fighting DEI or whether he's pushing back against Iran, or Hamas, he is in the fight for Western civilization.
Yes.
And I think that's a great thing. Yes.
Absolutely. AJ Rice, CEO of Publius PR and author of the White Privilege album, bringing racial harmony to very fine people on both sides. Thank you so much for joining us on Power Hour.
Yeah, great to be here. Thank you.